Look at this statue. Now, look at this. One was carved 2,500 years ago by people who had never seen a gym. The other represents the pinnacle of modern bodybuilding science. Optimal training splits, precise macro tracking, advanced supplementation. So why do most people think the statue looks better? It's not just personal preference. There's actual mathematics behind why Greek statues are more aesthetically pleasing than modern bodybuilders. And understanding this will completely change how you train. I'm going to show you something that sounds impossible. The ancient Greeks accidentally discovered the exact formula for building the most aesthetically pleasing physique possible. They measured it, they calculated it, and they carved it into stone. Modern bodybuilding abandoned that formula, and that's why, despite having every advantage, supplements, exercise science, steroids, most bodybuilders don't look as good as a 2,500-year-old piece of marble. Let me prove it. Let's start with what you can actually see. Pull up any Greek statue, the Doryphoros, the Belvedere Apollo, Laocoon. Now put them next to a modern bodybuilder. The differences are obvious. The statue has narrower shoulders, smaller arms, a less extreme V-taper. The waist isn't as small, the legs aren't as separated. Everything is smoother, more balanced. Your first thought is probably, well yeah, the bodybuilder has more muscle mass. Of course he's bigger. But here's what's interesting. That's not why the statue looks better. In fact, the statue looking better despite having less mass is exactly the point. Because the Greeks understood something modern bodybuilding forgot. Aesthetics isn't about maximum development, it's about optimal proportions, and we can prove this mathematically. The ancient Greeks were obsessed with mathematics. They believed beauty could be measured, calculated, and replicated. And they were right. The golden ratio, 1.618, shows up everywhere humans find things beautiful. Architecture, art, faces, and physiques. Greek sculptors used specific mathematical proportions when carving the human body. Shoulder width to waist width, roughly 1.4 to 1.5. Head height to total body height, 1 to 7.5 or 8. Upper arm to forearm, roughly equal. Chest to waist, about 1.4 to 1. These aren't random. They cluster around the golden ratio and its derivatives. Now here's where it gets interesting. Modern bodybuilders consistently exceed these proportions. A top men's open competitor might have a shoulder to waist ratio of 1.7, even 1.8. Their arms dwarf their forearms, their quads overpower their calves, and when you push past these mathematical boundaries, something happens. You enter what's called the uncanny valley. The physique stops looking idealized and starts looking distorted, cartoon-like, wrong. It's the same reason CGI characters can look creepy. They're close to human proportions, but just off enough that your brain rejects them. Greek statues sit exactly at the peak of the aesthetic curve. Modern bodybuilders push past it. But here's the part that'll really mess with your head. The Greeks weren't even trying to look good. They were training to fight. That's where the pankration comes into play. Pankration was an unarmed combat sport. Ancient mixed martial arts, wrestling, javelin, discus. These weren't bodybuilding exercises. They were combat and athletic training. The Greek ideal physique, the one immortalized in marble, was a byproduct of training for performance. They never did a bicep curl, never counted macros, never posed in a mirror checking their symmetry. They wrestled. They threw heavy objects. They practiced gymnastics. They sprinted. And their bodies adapted by building exactly the right amount of muscle in exactly the right places to perform these movements. Compare this to modern bodybuilding. Today, we train for aesthetics divorced from function. Chest day, arm day, leg day. We isolate individual muscles, trying to grow them as large as possible. The result? We build mass, but we lose the natural proportions that come from training movements instead of muscles. Here's the irony. The Greeks looked better precisely because they weren't trying to look good. Function dictated form, and function creates better aesthetics than artificially chasing size. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Drugs. Greek statues represent what's achievable naturally. No testosterone injections, no growth hormone, no SARMs, just food, training, and genetics. Modern professional bodybuilding exists beyond the natural limit, and I'm not making a moral judgment here, I'm making an aesthetic one. When you push past natural proportions using pharmaceutical enhancement, you don't just get bigger, you change the ratios. Shoulders become disproportionately large because of androgen receptor density. Traps blow up, the jaw widens. Muscle bellies lose their natural shape and become round, full, 3D. Even natural bodybuilders today are chasing these disproportionate ratios, which makes sense in terms of winning competition, but they lose all natural aesthetics. The Greeks trained maybe 3 to 4 times per week. Heavy, intense, full-body sessions based on athletic movements. Their bodies had time to recover, time to develop dense, hard muscle, rather than pumped, glycogen-swollen tissue. Modern bodybuilding, even natural, trains 5 to 6 days per week, constantly chasing the pump, keeping muscles full of water and glycogen. One creates the marble statue look. The other creates the inflated balloon look. Now, here's another factor most people miss. Body fat. Greek warriors stayed lean year-round. They had to. Being a citizen soldier meant you might need to fight tomorrow. That responsibility required consistent training and good athleticism. Their diet: olive oil, wine, fish, some grains, seasonal vegetables. High protein, moderate fat, relatively low carbohydrate by modern standards. The result: muscle definition at moderate size. Modern bodybuilding operates on bulk and cut cycles. Off-season, bodybuilders push 15%, even 20% body fat trying to maximize muscle growth. Then they diet down for shows. But here's what happens. When you're cycling between fat and lean, your body never settles into that hard, dense, carved from stone look. The Greeks were lean enough to see muscle separation 365 days a year. At that body fat percentage, even modest muscle mass looks impressive. Modern bodybuilders are either blurry with mass or shredded but depleted. They rarely hit that sweet spot the Greeks lived in. Look, if you made it this far into a video about 2,500-year-old shoulder-to-waist ratios, you're my people. Subscribe for more evidence-based history that challenges everything your gym bro believes. Let's talk about what the Greeks trained without. No bench press, no squat rack, no cable machines, no protein powder, no creatine, no pre-workout. What they did have: gymnastics rings, wrestling, bodyweight exercises, Olympic lifting variations, heavy stone carries, sprinting. Everything was a compound movement. Everything required balance, coordination, and core stability. You can't build imbalanced proportions when every exercise requires your entire body to work as a unit. Think about it. When you're wrestling, your body builds exactly the right amount of muscle in your back, shoulders, and arms to control another human being. Not more, not less. When you're doing ring work, your chest, shoulders, and core develop in perfect proportion to stabilize your body weight. When you're throwing a discus, your entire posterior chain coordinates to generate rotational power. Your body has no reason to grow disproportionately because the stimulus is always balanced. Compare this to modern training. Chest Day Monday, which hammers your chest and front delts but ignores everything else. Back Day Thursday, Leg Day Friday, that your upper body doesn't participate in at all. We've compartmentalized the body. The Greeks trained it as a system. So what do you actually do with this information? If you want to look like a Greek statue instead of a modern bodybuilder, here's your framework. 1. Train for performance, not appearance. Pick an athletic goal. Gymnastic skills, Olympic lifts, combat sports, something that requires your body to function as a unit. Your physique will adapt to support that goal with naturally balanced proportions. 2. Emphasize compound movements over isolation. Overhead press instead of lateral raises. Pull-ups instead of lat pull-downs. Front squats instead of leg extensions. Let your body decide what size each muscle needs to be to perform the movement. 3. Stay relatively lean year-round. The Greeks didn't bulk and cut, neither should you. Find a body fat percentage where you can see your abs, 10 to 12% for most men, and maintain it. Build muscle slowly while staying there. 4. Train less frequently than you think. 3 to 4 full body sessions per week. Hard, intense, focused on getting stronger at basic movements. Your body needs time to build dense muscle tissue, not just pump up with glycogen. 5. Focus on the ratios, not the tape measure. Stop asking, how big are my arms? Start asking, are my arms proportional to my forearms and shoulders? Track your shoulder to waist ratio. Aim for 1.4 to 1.5. If you exceed 1.6, you're leaving aesthetic territory and entering freak territory. The ancient Greeks created the most aesthetically pleasing physiques in human history, not because they had better genetics, not because they had better training knowledge, not because they had supplements or drugs, but because they understood something modern bodybuilding forgot. Optimal beats maximal, perfect proportions beat maximum mass. Function creates better form than chasing aesthetics, and mathematics, the golden ratio, natural human proportions, matters more than how much you can lift or how much protein you eat. Modern bodybuilding is about pushing limits. Greek aesthetics was about respecting them. You can spend the next year adding another inch to your arms, another 10 pounds to your frame, another workout day to your split. Or you can train like a warrior, eat like an athlete, and build a physique that'll still look good carved in marble 2,500 years from now. The choice is yours.